So, what's a Swedish fingerflip, you might wonder? I'm really glad I got gloves. Imagine what that would do to my thumb. This trick is really abusing your body. Or maybe it's just a young man's game. That one, I'd say it counted. What's up everyone, welcome to JP Skateboard channel, and today I'm gonna try and learn the Swedish fingerflip. So, what's a Swedish fingerflip, you might wonder? Well, it's basically a varial fingerflip. So the board is gonna rotate the kickflip direction with a shove it. So it's a pure freestyle trick, which requires a lot of strength in your arm. And always when I do finger flips, my fingers start to hurt really bad and I get like bleeding under the skin. But I got a little trick for that. So basically, they're just regular winter gloves. But they also provide some good grip thanks to the rubber patches over here. So I hope this experimental trick works today and wish me luck. So I started off with a much needed warm-up in the cold garage. I wanted to dial in some basic flip tricks, like kickflip and some fakey vario kickflips. I always liked fakey vario flips over regular vario flips, but today they really gave me a beating. That slam really woke me up. I'm lucky it didn't hurt more. But now I felt ready for some regular finger flips. I've been doing finger flips with a heel flip direction the last couple of years, but this requires me to try and relearn the kickflip direction. And I gotta say, this one is way more easier. A few minutes in, and I landed on the grip tape almost every time. It takes a lot of commitment, and it's a bit scary since your face is so close to the board. The hardest part is the early stage of the trick, since you basically need to lift yourself up and get the rotation going. If you want to learn this trick, you can see where my foot position is, and I keep my thumb on the grip tape, and the other fingers is under the nose. And as I go up, I lean a bit forward, and that helps me stay above the board. Then you flip it, and it may take some practice to get a solid flip, but I'm sure you figure it out. I recommend starting with a tail stop position and try to flip it stationary. That way you get a good feeling for the trick. And now I was ready to take on the Swedish fingerflip. I had a little trouble in the beginning with finding the right spot to grab hold of the board. And in the meantime, holding my balance while doing so. In the beginning, I had pretty good flow where it felt like I had a trick. I always tend to have these small windows of closing in on tricks, and then I usually fall back to square one. So that means my board flew out of control and far away from my feet, where I couldn't really get the full kickflip and only landed upside down. But the majority was that I landed upside down, and that was a good sign. I just needed to flip harder. I kept on going with gloves and without, just to see if there was any difference. And I found out this is one of those tricks, like when you add more effort to it, like flipping harder and jumping higher, and you still get the same results. And that can get really demoralizing. But in this case, I still had hope for this trick. I was getting closer, and even if the gloves helped save my fingers, it didn't really help the fatigue I felt in my arm at this point. So I changed my gripping on the board, and instead of gripping straight on the nose, I shifted my grip more to the side, pretty much in the pocket of the nose. And I found out it was a lot easier to flip the board with less effort. After a few minutes of battle and a lot of cursing, I finally landed a decent one. It was a bit tic-tacky, but at this point I was so tired, I just settled with one I could roll away with. I didn't have any strength left in my arm to clean it up, but the story of this trick doesn't end here. 2 weeks later and I was back at it again, fully rested and ready to take on the fakey Swedish Fingerflip. Now I had a lot more confidence. I felt right away the trick was near, but at this point my board was almost snapped in the middle. I was hoping to land the trick before it snapped totally. And I also landed a new trick besides the fingerflip, which was totally unexpected and a little complicated to explain, but we get to that in just a second. I was really closing in on it now. I had a couple of tries where I was landing on it pretty much every time, but it wasn't good enough. But if I kept this up, I would have it eventually. And I'm glad I did, because it soon paid off. And I got one that I was really satisfied with. That one I'd say counted. I was happy I rolled away, and I think I landed on the bolts too. So that was a really good relief. And now it was time for my next trick, which was my last trick for this day. And I'm gonna try to be correct with the name. But it's like a fake no comply big spin toe flip. I've been really close and landed some sketchy ones. But today I tried to throw in a no comply in the mix. And it worked pretty well. And it was a really fun trick to do. The trick came pretty quickly. It wasn't too hard. And I think having toe flips down really helped a lot. So this sums up this new trick and all these sessions that really carried fruit. It was really fun to do. And I hope my little tutorial was helpful. And if I was mistaken about the name of the last trick, please let me know in the comments. And now I'm gonna put my board to rest, so please like, share and subscribe, and I see you all in the next video.